So it looks like we're ready to have Summit Academy out here. I'm going to take a little break and let you enjoy this band. Stay tuned. Give us an email if you have a question or a comment you want to have talked about on the air.
Assistant directors Kimberly Bemis and Mike. Funktastic Voyage. Drum majors are Ashley Hagadon and Courtney Swanson. Design staff Ryan Lewis. Instructional staff Kelsey Ziegler, Mike Ringel, Jessica Peltz, Samantha Lazar, and Kelly Sullivan. Are the judges ready? Drum majors Ashley Hagadon and Courtney Swanson. Is the band ready? Summit Academy Marching Dragons, the field is yours for Class C Fanfare performance. gentlemen, the Summit Academy Marching Dragons Band. The Summit Academy Marching Dragons Band is only in its 5th year of existence. Beginning with fewer than 30 members, today the band has over 80. The Marching Dragons Band was the recipient of the S3 Decor Award at the 2009 Downriver Fanfare. Under the direction of Andy Houston, the Summit Academy Marching Dragons Band is composed of 82 members.
All right. Summit Academy Funktastic Voyage is the name of that show, which was very apropos because we had some of the greatest hits of funk in there, and some pretty stellar dancing in the middle tune, Kung Fu Fighting. We had, I think I saw a Matrix move in there, which was pretty neat, and then some Kung Fu moves. So that's always interesting when we can incorporate the music, and we were talking about having a theme or having a motive that goes throughout the show. Well, in this case, the motive was funk, and so it was fun to see them have a good time with that. Interesting, the uniforms are a little bit different than what we've seen so far tonight. They weren't wearing any headgear, a shako or a hat, and they also had more of a jumpsuit than a traditional band uniform, which obviously helps facilitate some of those fancy moves. So that was interesting. I'm just watching as they go out. Also noticing, we haven't talked a lot about the percussion. We mentioned that they're always helpful on the large impacts. One of the things that I'm noticing is a pretty big difference or variation from band to band in the size of their bass drums. And you'll see throughout the night, I know because I worked with Wyandotte last night, I know what their line looks like. You'll see bands that have, on average, a larger size of bass drum. And I could be wrong, but I believe they come in 2-inch increments, starting, I think, maybe 16 inches is pretty small for a bass drum, but they do that. And then they increment up, and you can have 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, and so on, up to 36, I believe. A 3-foot bass drum is the biggest one you can get. But since most groups usually have 3 or 4 or 5 bass drums, you're not going to see all of those. So the band director has the choice of where they want to start, where they want to end, and what they want to have in between. And so a more a traditional corps style, which means drum and bugle corps, or if you're doing music that you want to have a wider range of pitch in the bass drums, you might start in that 18-inch range and move yourself into a 28 or even a 30, 32-inch drum on the field. I don't think anybody thinks it's a good idea to make a high school student carry a 36-inch drum, so that doesn't happen very often. But if you have that spread, you're going to get the pitch sound. They're called tonal bass drums because they actually have a tone, as opposed to an orchestral bass drum or a symphonic band bass drum where when you hit it, you really just want to hear the boom. But with tonal bass drums, you kind of want to, the goal is to hear boom, 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 and have those different pitches. They aren't actually tuned to a pitch most of the time, but the intervals between them are tuned in a way that you have a variation. As the lowest drum player plays their drum, you have more of a boom, and when the upper drum, you have more of a boom. So, and that's an exaggeration, but that's the spectrum that you're going to run. This last band, all of that is to say, that they were a lot more in the funk and wanted to have that big boomy sound. So they used 4 bass drums that were all a lot larger. If I was to guess, I would say their top bass drum was probably the 22 or 24-inch model, and then went down little less space in between, 22, 26, 30, 32 maybe. But they wanted that deeper sound. They didn't want to have any of the bass drums with the upper sound. So, and that worked really well for a funk show. So that works out because it takes the place of the big speakers and all the amplification that we don't have on the marching band field most of the time. So that was fun. That was Funktastic.